Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Friday, December the 29th, 2023. I am looking outside of my home weather office and we do got some cloudy skies. The winds are picking up and we're going to get quite a bit of rainfall approaching California, Oregon, and portions of Washington overnight tonight, but especially California where we can get quite a bit of rainfall. But there are more bigger weather pattern changes than just the West that we will be talking about in this video. In fact, we could be seeing one of the biggest Arctic outbreaks of the winter season for the northern portion of the United States, Canada, as well as the western half. This could be pretty significant, folks, and this could trigger even more bigger storms than what we're already going to be continuing with over the next week or so. We have a lot to digest in today's update. So now, some of you are probably wondering, how warm has it been over the last couple of days? And you can see here clearly that it's been very warm. This is currently looking at our daily unofficial temperature records as of December the 29th at 21 UTC time, which is nearly at around 1 o'clock this afternoon, my time. And yeah, anything in the red dots here are temperatures that are being tied or broken. These are daily records or monthly records, or if not, even all-time record highs being broken or tied. And so we can see a big cluster over Washington, been very warm there, temperatures in the 50s and 60s, where you should be seeing temperatures in the 30s and 40s this time of the year. So very, very warm up there. I mean, some of you are probably complaining about how warm it's been. It's just hasn't been a typical December at all up there. Really dry too, well below average anomalous precipitation in the long term. Also for California, Stockton, Modesto, San Jose, seeing temperatures that are already breaking daily record highs already. So that means temperatures in San Jose are already in the upper 60s. We got some low 70s already. We even have a temperature currently in Bakersfield at 80 degrees. That tells you a lot, that it is really warm. And also for Medford, Oregon, for northern tier of California on the border there, we're also seeing some record high temperatures. Not only that, even in Canada and northern Minnesota, seeing some daily record high temperatures already broken. So with that being said, let's take a look at our weather global computer models, because we're going to forecast that winter storm that's impacting the West. We're also seeing a couple of southern riders for the deep south that could bring quite a bit of rainfall and the potential for some flood concerns. And then once we get back past January the 9th and the 10th, that's when we could be expecting some of the coldest air of the season making a visit across the United States. There are big weather pattern changes coming, folks. Wait until you see the temperature anomalies and wait until you see the jet stream. It's going to do some wild, wild stuff. So looking at the West here, we do have that light to moderate rainfall that will be approaching the Bay Area. It's already raining there right now, according to Doppler radar on the bottom right side of the screen, as you can see. So seeing some rain there, and that rain line will be propagating onshore overnight tonight into tomorrow morning for your Saturday. So when you wake up in the morning, you could see some wet roadways, or you will see some wet roadways. Oregon, Washington, you're going to get the tail northern end of this, so you're not going to see a whole lot of accumulation out of this system. But here's that other weather disturbance across the northeastern tier of the United States, bringing a little bit of rainfall, nothing too enormous, not a historic system by any means, just a little bit of snow up here in the extreme northeastern tier of the US, but otherwise looking pretty quiet. But that changes into the overnight hours for California. There it is. All eyes will probably be aimed towards California because of that system stretching all the way from Southern California into Bakersfield, Fresno, Sacramento, Stockton. If you are in Yuba City, if you're in the foothills, yes, we're talking a lot about rainfall, some gusty winds, some thunderstorms that will be moving through as that cold front swings into motion, and then the backside of that rolls through, and we could catch more activity tomorrow, some pop-up storms, showers, and stuff like that. Otherwise, though, for your Saturday. The rest of Saturday looks pretty good for the entire United States, but don't let that fool you, folks, because there are big changes coming. Now, you're probably wondering what New Year's Eve is going to look like for many areas, because a lot of you are going to go out partying, I'm sure. You're going to probably go to Times Square and watch the ball drop. Everyone is and you're probably wondering, what is the weather going to be like for my area, David? Are we going to see anything significant? And the answer is no. You're not going to see anything significant. So you're going to be out there without an umbrella watching the ball drop, and you're going to be like, oh, for the first time, it's actually not raining, or it's not that cold, right? So good news coming for Times Square residents. You're going to see that ball drop on New Year's Eve at the stroke of midnight, actually, on New Year's Day, actually, technically, right? Across much of the U.S. for New Year's Day, looking very quiet, no rainfall, no active weather. If you want to find anything, you're going to have to go into the Great Lakes where you have some snow and maybe a little bit of some sprinkle activity for your Sunday along the coast of California. But that really is about it. We're not talking anything significant, folks. One of the more quiet days that we have seen in quite some time. How about New Year's Day for January the 1st, 2024? Yes, even the model shows it right there, 2024. Love seeing the new year coming successfully. I just love it, don't I? So, looking good. Starting on a clean note, no big storms to watch, maybe a couple of sprinkles here and there, maybe something down here from the deep south, maybe another little disturbance here approaching Tijuana and San Diego, but otherwise quiet. And that's how it's going to be. So if you guys are wondering, is it going to rain or is it going to snow? The answer is no, it's not. You have to go to Quebec and Ontario to find any accumulation of snowfall and a more robust system. But it seems like the weather pattern has other plans on its mind to do around New Year's. So before New Year's, we got this storm that's impacting California, maybe some storminess across, like I said, that little disturbance over the Northeast. But the New Year's Day and Eve look good. And then after that, guess what? The storms are back. It's going to start in two areas this time. We're going to see a storm impacting California starting Tuesday night into Wednesday. We have another disturbance down here in Texas. And when we kind of forward this into motion, you can see that disturbance there impacting Louisiana. Now, this system impacting California could be more intense. We could see more rainfall totals, more stronger winds out of this one. It's a colder system, more dynamics to work with. And so that's good news. We need the rain, right? The first storm of the new year, going to be great to see for our location. And hopefully January ends up being above average for California. We really need that rain. Over Louisiana and southeastern Texas, you're going to see that storm kind of stride your area. We talked about these southern riders that are going to be a thing. That storm system moves into Georgia and the Carolinas by Wednesday, January the 4th and the 5th, bringing some light to moderate rainfall. And then bigger changes come, okay? I want to warn you all that this could be a significant pattern setting up. We have another system impacting the Pacific Northwest and eventually into California, with another system impacting Oklahoma and Texas by Friday and Saturday, January the 5th and the 6th. Okay, I'm still on December. What the heck is David talking about? Right, so we got to watch that system, okay? And then going forward, look at a little curly Q. So some pretty good dynamics. We might get some severe weather out of that. We shall see. And then, this active pattern, it's going to come, folks. We're going to talk about storms. We're talking about cold air coming. It's that little monster over California and, say, the Great Basin. That's going to change everything. This is going to be the monster. This is going to be the big one that's going to change our weather pattern. By Sunday, January the 7th, big-time rainfall and flood concerns potentially over Virginia, portions there of Maryland, as well as North Carolina. So ending the first full week of January could be a very busy one for sure for this portion of the U.S. And then look what we got. This storm, folks, doesn't look very strong, right? And it really isn't in terms of precipitation. But boy, it's got a lot of dynamics to work with. And I'm afraid we're going to see a big snowstorm out of this beast. In fact, when we extend our range further out beyond the 10-day forecast, and a huge disclaimer for those that are watching is that I want you to understand, models are not perfect, okay? They are not used for actual forecasting. We use them for guidance. What meteorologists like to use is them, what could January the 9th or the 10th look like, right? Are the chances higher for snow, rain, or are the chances lower for dry or higher for dry and warm conditions, right? So I want you all to understand, models are not perfect, and there will be changes to be determined. The intensity, where and when this is going to strike, because we know it's coming. The big picture is the pattern that allows this to happen will be there for some big time winter storm producers, okay? It's just about when and where it is going to set up, right? So this is for January the 8th. Okay, this is just beyond the 10-day forecast. We got a little bit of snow here. We got a nice little system that digs down. Now, the thing about this, there has been some evolution changes on how this all plays out, right? We look at, and we'll be looking at previous model runs. I think we got the last 4 model runs. The 18Z run I'm not going to use because that is currently rendering right now of me making this video, and it doesn't go very far out in time. So we're just going to use the 12Z and anything earlier than that. And we can see, if we go to this 06Z run, oh my gosh, this could be historic, okay, for Oklahoma, for northern Texas, right? You all are probably like, oh gosh, if that happens, that could be historic. Let's look at the 0Z run. It's further north. Look at that. But still, the same look to this comma-shaped storm, big snow for the high plains, could be a historic blizzard if that actually comes true. And then the 18Z run is... that's what it is. It's not very dynamic, right? So we have a lot to work out with exactly how things are going to play out. What we do know is when we get a pattern like this where we get much colder temperatures coming out of the Arctic, meeting up with warmer air along the Atlantic coast, this really leads to possible big, massive winter producer storms, I should say. Does not guarantee all the time, but there's that gradient that could really allow some pretty big explosive storm to develop in the Midwest or even the eastern seaboard. Now, how much rainfall could you expect over the next 10 days, putting all the storms together? And so right now for California, gonna take in on the jackpot with most of the wet weather, anywhere between maybe 2 to 3 inches of rain for the valley. For the Sacramento Valley, along the coastal range mountains, could see up to 6 inches of rainfall, and across northwestern tip of California, might even see 5 inches, including for the Pacific Northwest, where you're going to get some sort of rainfall, but it's going to be below average there. You should see more than this. Come on, I mean, that's definitely a dry one. If that's not enough, look at the precipitation anomalies. Definitely drier than normal up here in the Pacific Northwest, much drier than normal across the Great Lakes, the Northeast. And so, again, a lot has to be worked out. But look at this. For the Deep South over here, classic El Nino signature setting up here for California and the Deep South with above average precipitation anomalies, which is good to see, right? You can see for Louisiana, might see a couple of inches of rain, including for the Southeast, 1 to 2 inches of rain too. Snowfall totals on the European model are pretty much similar with the rainfall totals, right? The highest snowfall amounts are to be found in the higher elevations. The valleys, though, the snow-shadowed areas, probably only getting about 2 to 3 inches, maybe 2 to 8 inches of rain or snowfall through the next 10 days. No snow down here for the Deep South or the Midwest. You might see a little sneaker, like I said, here in Oklahoma, where you might get a few inches of snowfall. And then, of course, for the Northeast, a lot has to be worked out. But now this is when we need to talk about the GFS model really quickly, because if we do take a look at our 12Z run, there again is a lot to be worked out, okay? I want you all to understand that. 12Z run, not much snow for the Midwest. When we go back, oh my goodness, you might see 2 to 3 feet of snowfall. Let's look at the 0Z run from last night. That, 2 to 3 feet of snowfall. So see, there's a lot of changes. There's no consistency from run to run of exactly if or when that snowstorm is going to happen. But I talked to Ethan B last night all about this, and his reaction was, gosh, Ethan, look at these snowfall totals. These are insane. And he says, oh yeah, those are insane. My gosh. Whoa, yeah, that is, if that happens, if that even happens on the GFS model, that is a historic blizzard waiting to happen. And I'm like, oh yeah, Ethan, no joke about it. So me and Ethan were talking on Discord about this, and yeah, we really got to watch. We really have to watch January the 9th and beyond for maybe the potential for some big snowstorms, big blizzards as well that we have not seen at all so far this winter or even during the fall season. So you better be prepared for what's to come because it's going to be wild if it does. By the way, you could check out Ethan B's YouTube channel. There is a link in the description below this video. I don't want to forget to shout out also Pat's Path Predictor, link in the description below this video. All right, let's get back talking about the weather after our quick promo there. So looking at the European model for our temperature anomalies, definitely a warm one. There is no doubt about that at all. We can clearly see this. Above average anomalies over Hudson Bay to the south over Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec, and Ontario, Canada, including for British and Alberta, Canada. Below average down here for the deep south, of course, because why? We're going to have more rain chances coming, and that's going to keep temperatures on the cooler than normal side. But the pattern is changing. Out to 9 to 10 days for January. Again, this is not January the 9th yet. So beyond the European model in its medium range forecast, we're hinting at some big time colder air surging southward here. Doesn't look like a lot yet until we take a look at the GEFS ensemble, which you could definitely see these temperatures really dropping. I mean, look at the ensemble here. Montana, also for Wyoming, portions of the Dakotas, could see temperatures 10 to 15 degrees below average. That's nothing compared to our deterministic forecast on the GFS. Let's go to that here. The 18 or the 12Z run. I mean, come on. This is just nuts when you look at this. Let's look at the 0Z run, showing you some very cold temperatures for sure across much of the U.S. Yeah, that would be a historic Arctic outbreak if it really sticks on the waffle iron, I should say. A little analogy, you know, when things stick onto the model run. If it pans out as what the models show, get ready. Brace yourself, folks, because it could be bad. All right, so now looking at our last perimeter on this video is the GEFS ensemble 500 millibar height anomaly forecast, because this shows us where the air masses are warmer than average, where it's cooler than normal based on our height anomalies. So the orange-red shading is above average heights at 500 millibars, which is 18,000 feet. So another way to look at the atmosphere from above. And then the blue shading is below average heights. So when we go forward in time, we can see how the pattern progresses, right? So first of all, this little trough moves on through. That's what we're seeing right now with that weather disturbance. But then this low pressure system gets ejected into the deep south off of the New Mexico plateau. That's been well modeled at this point. So there's a pretty good likely chance that that is actually going to happen out to 5 days. So get ready for rain, some gusty winds as that pulls through. Then another system approaches California. This is somewhat of a cutoff low, but closer or close enough to us that we will get some sort of impacts by it with rainfall, some gusty winds anticipated, mountain snowfall for sure for the mountains of the Sierra, which is good. That moves through into the deep south, and that's going to bring, again, more rainfall. But guess what? It's all beyond the 7th and the 8th of December or January, all right? Very good signal here on the GEFS ensemble, hinting at a very big collaboration of a low-pressure center system that moves into the western portion of the United States on the 7th of January. Now, the problem with this is you got a ridge of high pressure here over Indiana and the Great Lakes. That's also going to rapidly amplify once it moves off the eastern seaboard. So now you're going to see a pattern that is pretty favorable for a very dynamic weather situation that sets up. And I mean, come on, this is the 8th and the 9th of January, and yeah, that is a very amplified pattern, and Ethan B here can all agree, including Pat's Path Predictor and Weather Nazario, or WX Center Nazario, could agree. Nice ridging here in the northeastern U.S., nice good low pressure center over the four corners. I can sniff. I can just see a big storm happening, folks. I'm not Willy Wonka wishing for things here, but the pattern really aims at. It really screams that we could have a monster winter storm. But yeah, we do gotta watch this. This is 10 days out, but if it happens, I'm sure you all will be watching me a lot more often than other people out there, because I will be covering this from the ground up. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And look at the Arctic air mass stays with us through mid-January. How about that? So once it gets cold, it's probably going to stay cold for a while. To add more credibility to the GEFS and other ensembles out there is that the Arctic oscillation is negative. That means colder air is building up and it's moving its way southward somewhere in higher latitudes. So this negative AO is going to continue all the way through the middle of January. It goes up a little bit, but then it goes right back down, very negative, -3 or so by the 14th of January. This is paired up with our PNA pattern, Pacific North American Oscillation, and we can see right now it's positive. That's why Canada is very warm. We're seeing record high temperatures, but by the time we go right around the 7th and the 8th, we are going to see this go really negative. And look at the control run, almost -3 here. And then some of the more wild ensemble members taking this down to -4. That means there is going to be some very cold air coming, and there is a lot of agreement that that will be the case. Now, a quick spoiler alert here is showing you just how cold these temperatures could actually end up being if this actually pans out as what models indicate. There's been some, again, wiggle room on how cold it's going to be, but the 12Z run, really bullish. I mean, we're talking -60 up here in northern Canada, central Canada. Look at that, over portions of Alaska. Could be -65 degrees. If that's not cold enough, your apparent temperature is going to be even colder. Look at this, folks. It might feel like -85 degrees. Yeah, I'm not lying about that. -85, -70 degrees in much of Canada. So if you thought it's cold now, oh boy, you just wait. Just wait until we get to the 11th and the 12th of January. Could be very significant. We could see record or all-time record low temperatures, perhaps, in portions of Canada. But anyways, I sure hope this video helped you out a lot, folks. If it did, please consider subscribing right now to the YouTube channel by hitting that subscribe button down below this video. Again, I love doing these videos because you guys are very awesome. I love you guys. You guys are family to me. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, because we are so close to 18,000 subscribers. Also hit that like. You guys did very well in yesterday's video at getting me at least to 200 likes, and also sharing this and leaving an awesome comment in the section below this video. Not only that though, if you guys want to check out my Sacramento weather webpage, there is a link in the description below this video. This is what it looks like. It's going to be here on the top left side of the screen, right by my head, and I'm looking right at it. Be sure to also check out my Twitter page as well. There will also be a link in the description. And lastly, be sure to check out my Discord server, Weather Force. There's a link in the description below this video too, leading to that. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will be back with you more in the weather department, hopefully tomorrow, if not, definitely on Sunday.